TJ the Wheel Deal coming at you live. It is Wednesday, November the 13th, 10:06 a.m. Central Time, Texas time. Feeling kind of phallic today, so we got the microphone right by the mouth, right? So I feel like a legit podcaster. Anyway, how are you guys doing? I got my bandana on because I'm going to the gym later to work off all this frustration of the market. Just kidding, man. So what do we know? The government reopened, stock market's tanking a little bit, nothing too crazy. When you're in the higher beta names, like I have a lot of exposure to some higher beta names, your portfolio is going to bleed out a little bit more than most. That's just what you signed up for, right? You got to know what it is that you signed up for. But we're not. This is all I got. I don't have a white flag, but we're not fucking rolling the. We're not throwing in the white towel. This isn't a boxing match or anything of the sort. We're just going to stay the course. I'm TJ the Will Deal. What I do, I sell puts, I sell calls, I collect premium, I roll when it makes dollars and cents. And when I have conviction in something, when I have conviction in a stock, I've been known to accumulate a bunch of shares because I am in the share accumulation game. So I feel like if your goal is to buy shares, you should rather buy them cheaper than more expensive, or as my wife says, less expensive, right? She feels like it's just better than saying the word cheap. She's like using the word cheap. So she says, you should prefer to buy things that are less expensive. And I'm like, well, why don't you then? But I just think that if you believe in the stock, you believe in the story, you have an investment thesis, and you're still accumulating, you're still in the share accumulation phase, I feel that you should want to get those shares at a lower price. It's just if that's the business that you're in, that's what you should be cheering for. And I know that feels a little counterintuitive. It almost feels like you're cheering against your favorite sports team, if you will. So anyway, the portfolio is heavily weighted to crypto right now. We got BMNR exposure, we got ASST exposure, we got MSTR exposure, and we got a lot of Riot exposure as well. So some Clean Spark exposure. So it's heavily weighted in the crypto scene. So it's like are Michael Saylor and Tom Lee, if you will, or are they going to be our Santa Claus, or are they going to be our Grinch? That's really what it's going to come down to today. Let me do this. Let me give you guys some shout outs here, and then we're going to do a portfolio update. It's rough out there for us today, but we're excited because I feel like it's days like this. That's where the opportunity is. That's where the opportunity is, guys. I don't know how many times over the last couple of months I look at the portfolio, I look at the watch list, and I'm like, there ain't shit that I want to buy. So I'm just like, okay, well, I'll just play the range game. I'll sell strangles or whatever. And now we finally have what I feel are some legitimate opportunities, some dip buying opportunities, because I'm not a big fan of owning a bunch of shares anymore. I feel like it's not really capital efficient. I feel like if I play some really large strangles, do the range game, just keep the ball in the fairway, if you will, I just feel like I just can make easier money. It's just better on my blood pressure. So anyway, let me see who's watching here today. We've got Mr. International. What's going on, Manish? What's going on, Scary Scott? Mr. G, Camille, Thomas, Shamu. Right on. Oh, well, the government's open, right? So if you're tied to the government, that's awesome. That's awesome. Good for you guys. I know that it's been real tough for a lot of folks, with a lot of uncertainty and things like that. Hopefully, all that's behind us now, at least for a year or so, and they'll argue again over some other shit down the road. It is what it is. Tom Lee better be my Santa. What's going on, TJ and Strangle National? What's going on, Renzig? How are you? Kenneth, Snowball, Oswaldo. What up, SoFi Bull? I hope you guys are doing well, man. I hope you guys are doing well. Let's get into it. Portfolio update time. You know me, man. I show you the good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifferent. Why? Because I don't have an angle, man. I don't have an angle. I'm just a guy documenting the journey, and I'm hoping that my son will eventually take advantage of all this knowledge here, watch the videos. That way he can kind of learn on his own time, and I'm not like lecturing him and stuff like that. So that's kind of the whole purpose of the channel in a nutshell. It is for my son Jeremiah, so that he has the footprint, he has the roadmap to success, whatever that looks like for him. I've already made my life, turning out pretty good. Long way to go in my mind. Hopefully, God gives me health and whatnot. I feel like there's a lot more things that I can accomplish, financially, spiritually, emotionally, all that thing, all that stuff. But this is about trying to set up my son, and then you guys are beneficiaries of that as well. So anyway, let's get into it. I just wing it. So here we go. Let's go. We got the kaleidoscope action there. We're going to go here, and we're going to go to this side of the house, though, because it's just more it's easier on the eyes, if you will. And look at this. This is just a sea of red. It's a sea of red. It's unbelievable. It is absolutely unbelievable how ugly it looks. So let's go over here. Let's go days to expiration, because I always like to see, okay, what's in front of me? What do I have to deal with right now? And what don't I have to deal with? So let me make sure I've got these all X'd out. And we're only showing the big portfolio. Actually, we're going to start with the DGen portfolio. My son's at the DGen portfolio. So this is account ending in 47. We just got one position, guys. One position. That's it. It's 1,000 shares of BM&R at about $50 or so. So obviously 38 is less than 50. And that's why we're down $12,000 on the shares. Got the shares for sale at $50 for next Friday. So that's like the only bright spot in the portfolio. And then we've got an agreement to buy 500 more shares. We didn't learn our lesson, right? We thought we're getting a good price at 50, and it turns out we can get an even better price at 43. So that's what we got going on here. I just sent $5,000 more to this account today so that we can be in a position to take ownership of the 500 shares at 43. So in other words, I don't have to roll these 43 puts if I don't feel like it. So that's probably what's going to happen. We'll see. We'll see. Luckily, you're going to sell another round of covered calls here in a week or so. Hopefully, bring in at least another $1,000 or so if there's a little bit of a pump on BM&R. If not, well, if it ain't sunny and 75, we're still going to sell calls. So we might only bring like $400 or $500, whatever it is. We paid for this rental house. We're going to collect rent. That's the way that I look at it. Sometimes the rent's going to be better than others. Sometimes ideal conditions, BM&R pumps, all that stuff's going to be awesome. We could collect more money for the premiums, right? We can collect more premium money because the more expensive the stock is, theoretically, the higher the premiums are going to be. But we don't know. We don't control pricing in the market. You only control your attitude and positioning, right? So that's what's going on with BM&R in a nutshell in that particular portfolio. Let me X out of here. Let me go to account ending in 60. That's the big account. I've already got it set up on days to expiration. So let's talk about it. BM&R, what do we got? We've got 60,000 shares at $51.31 average. It is not on here, but I'm telling you, that's what the average is. Go to X, look at the screenshots. They're all there. What I'm telling you is true. So we're down $233,000 on that position collectively. How? It's a combination of a couple of things. So we're down on the shares massively. The only bright spot in this trade is the 600 covered calls that we have. So we've got an agreement to sell these 60,000 shares at 50. So we bought them at 51.31, and we got an agreement to sell them at 50. I don't think it's going to 50 by next Friday. If it does, I'd be ecstatic. I'd be super stoked if it went to 50 by next Friday. I wouldn't be selling those shares at 50. I would roll those out. 400 of those contracts, 200 of those contracts, 20,000 of those shares would be for sale at 50. Why? Because I picked them up in the $40, $41 range. So I would gladly sell those at 50. So this is a strategy called average down to average out. So I averaged down about 20,000 shares in the $40, $41 range because I had already bought 40,000 shares at the 56 range, 56, 58, I believe was the average. And then we bought 20,000 more shares at 40 and 41. So I want to sell those shares at 50 so that we're back to the 40,000 shares. So if the position bounces and recovers to 50, we're in a much better spot. And I want to swing trade those 20,000 shares over and over. BMNR falls back down to 40. Let's just say in a perfect world, it goes to 50. We get rid of those 20,000 shares. We roll the other cover calls out and up to at least 55, because we don't want to be in a position where our average is 51 and we're selling shares for 50, right? On the bulk of the position, and we know that we paid 56.58 for those shares. So eventually, we need a cover call above 56 bucks, 57. That's where we could legitimately sell the shares, and we break even on the shares, and we're rocking with the leaps. So there's a lot going on, a lot to unpack there. Rewind the tape. I'm giving you all the scenarios. I'm trying to go through it real quickly so that I can get through some Q&A, because I've got FaceTime, I think, in an hour or so. And then also I might invite somebody onto the stream if they want to. So we also got the leaps. We got the reason I'm able to sell very aggressive covered calls on BMNR, guys, is because we got the leaps. We got 800 leaps at 75. So if these covered calls gets challenged, I'm at risk of losing these shares. It's not really the end of the world for us, because we free up a lot of money, but then the leaps would start printing a little bit, and that wouldn't be the worst thing for us. Now let's look at SoFi. What's going on with SoFi? SoFi's having a little bit of a bad day. Woke up on the wrong side of the truck bed. Probably just a lot of profit taking, guys. All-time highs yesterday. There's a lot of people that are like, hey, maybe this stock's kind of run a little bit ahead of its skis, so let's just lock in a profit. If that's your mindset, that's not the worst thing. There's nothing wrong with selling the stock at an all-time high. And they're essentially, playing for the pullback. There's going to be a lot of people like, oh, market manipulation, all that stuff. You're welcome to the stock market. All that shit happens. All that stuff's probably true. What do I got going? I got 5,000 short puts at 29. So it's an obligation to buy 500,000 shares of SoFi at 29. How do you get to that number? 5,000 times 100, because these are derivatives of 100, right? When you're dealing with options. So it's an agreement to buy 500,000 shares of SoFi at 29 bucks. Also have an agreement to sell 400,000 shares of SoFi at 36. So that becomes the sweet spot. That's like the fairway in golf, right? The left is 29, the right is 36, and you got to keep the ball down the middle. So we got 22 days. We just need SoFi to kind of hang out between 29 and 36. It's barely hanging on at the 29s right now. We got an agreement to buy a shitload of shares there. The extrinsic value there is at $960,000. We're down $3,000 collectively on that part of the trade. We're up $40,000 on the call side of things. So we're still okay. Now we're slightly in the money. It is what it is. Luckily, it's 22 days out. The Tasty Trade Wait says, hey, you should probably roll that one out tomorrow and kind of like regroup a little bit, maybe go from 29 to 28. We'll see. We'll see if I'm going to do the Tasty Trade Way. I feel really good about SoFi. They just announced the relaunch of crypto. They just had amazing earnings reports not that long ago. They raised guidance. The rates are lowering. There's a lot of tailwinds. There's a lot of tailwinds for SoFi. So I'm not going to let one bad day in the market make me rethink the strangle and overreact and overmanage. I feel like I'm in a winning trade. It's just uncomfortable right now. The 5,000 short puts are uncomfortable, but keep in mind, this was of my own doing. When I first started this trade, the strike price was at 27. All I did was sold $27 puts. But I got aggressive, I got greedy, and I rolled the strike price from 27 to 29 because I feel like SoFi has a better chance of closing close to 36 versus 29 22 days from now. So that's why the bet looks the way that it looks. Moving on to CleanSpark, a new strangle that we brought back onto the fold. CleanSpark has just been an absolute money printer for us this year, up $447,000 year to date. And now we've got an agreement to buy 50,000 shares of 11 bucks. Got paid a little bit of money for that. we're down a little bit on that particular position, but I'm excited. I'd be like legit excited to take ownership of 50,000 shares at 11 bucks. I think that the management is coming through. I believe in their long-term vision for the company. I feel like if I needed to build a position with shares on CleanSpark, $11 being the entry point, sign me up. I can sell, cover calls, manufacture the win. MSTR. What's going on with MSTR? We got a trade that's working here, so that's why you see that. So we got an agreement to buy 80,000 shares of MSTR at 215. Those are obviously getting challenged in a real big way right now. And we also got an agreement to sell now 1,748 seven contracts at 350 36 days from now. So it stands to reason that if the $215 puts are getting challenged, what's not being challenged is the $350 naked calls. So that's our easy money side of the trade. Our difficult side of the trade, the hard money side, is obviously the 215 puts. We'll monitor those. We'll see what happens. Again, guys, I'm not just playing this expiration date to expiration date. Everything that you see on there is a campaign. I would like for these trades to be on the books at least through all of 2026 minimum. Meta, what's going on with Meta? This is, I feel, a pretty easy money trade. We got an agreement to buy 10,000 shares of Meta at 550 while having an agreement to sell 20,000 shares of Meta at 750. These are mutually exclusive trades, right? It's that or this. It can't be trading at 550 and 750 at the same time when you got the same expiration date. So it's either going to be below 550 or it's going to be above 550. It's either going to be below 750 or it's going to be above 750. What's the sweet spot in between 550 and 750? Because then both the puts and the calls are out of the money. That's why I refer to short strangles as a sweet spot trade. And we got $94,000 of extrinsic value tied to this trade. We're about even on the trade right now. We're down $500 collectively for the year in Meta. I think that this trade can make it to the finish line, guys. I think that this could be a $94,000 win by the end of the year. Amazon, this one here is problematic. This is something that I'll definitely have to deal with here pretty soon if Amazon goes to like the 230 range. So we've got an agreement to buy a shitload of Amazon at 245, but we also have an agreement to sell 100,000 shares of Amazon at 270. So again, it's that or this, right? It can't be under 245 and above 270. So I'm like, okay, but I have a trade that I'm babysitting that's notional, a lot of money, right? It's 750 contracts times 100, so 75,000 shares at 245. So you go to the notional on that. It's a lot of money. I'll show you all the spreadsheet in a second that does all the calculations for you. So that's a problem. That's a problem. I'd have to liquidate everything in the portfolio to take ownership of all of those shares of Amazon at 245. So we don't really want to do that, right? We don't really want to do that. This is a sweet spot trade, and right now it's sour. It's not in our sweet spot. So that is something that I will deal with here in the next 10, 15 days or so when we get closer to that 21 days to expiration. And I will make the requisite adjustments, the necessary adjustments, if you will. Tesla. Surprisingly, we're finally in a trade on Tesla that's causing zero stress. It's awesome. So we got an agreement to buy 5,000 shares of Tesla at 350. It's comfortably above our strike price, even though it's been getting its ass kicked here the last few days. And we got an agreement to sell 15,000 shares of Tesla at 650. So it obviously can't be below 350 and above 650 at the same time. The sweet spot is right where it's at, in between the 350 and the 650. So that's why I'm heavier weighted on the short calls, because I feel like the naked calls is the easy side of this trade. So I loaded up on those. We're already up $33,000 on that side of the trade. But on the flip side of the coin, we're down $17,000 on the short puts. So the idea is to keep rolling the calls down for more credits to balance out the position and stick it out with Tesla as long as we can. As long as it stays above 350, we're not going to roll these puts. We're going to stick in this trade because we do feel like we have a winning trade. It's just a little bit uncomfortable on the short put side. Hood. We got 150 puts at 110, 64 days out versus 300 calls, 64 days out at 190. I don't even have to look at that position. Palantir, we got an agreement to buy 35,000 shares at 160 versus an agreement to sell 70,000 shares at 260. The easy money trade is obviously, and I've been saying it on X a lot, it's free money. I've been saying it's free money. There's no such thing as free money, but it's easy money selling naked calls at 260 on Palantir 64 days out. I just don't think there's any numbers or announcements that Palantir can put up or out there on the airwaves to get to $260 a share in the next 64 days. I feel like if I had to put the entire portfolio up, like literally risk the entire portfolio at 260 Palantir, 64 days out, and I didn't have the ability to roll. Let's just say that ability didn't happen. I'd be comfortable doing it. I'd be comfortable doing it because there's not a damn thing Alex Carr, Peter Thiel, Amit, nobody's going to be able to fucking say to get Palantir to 260 bucks. It's just not going to fucking happen. So I'm like, I thought about getting this to 1,400 calls because I'm like, I got to go find the easy money in the portfolio right now. I mean, we got a drawdown of $1 million for the day. It stands to reason you got to figure out, well, how can you go get paid? You know, like you got to figure out where can I manufacture the win somewhere. If you're running strangles and there's a hard side, which is now the short puts on just about everything, it stands to reason that the calls are going to be the easy side. And I feel very, very fortunate and blessed right now that as I look at a lot of these positions that I'm babysitting, I have more calls than puts. So that part's fun, right? I love having more calls on Amazon than puts. I love having more calls on Tesla than puts. I love having more calls on Hood than puts. I love having twice the amount of calls than puts on Palantir. Same thing with NVIDIA. Got an agreement to buy 10,000 shares of NVIDIA 64 days out at 175, which wouldn't be a horrible entry point, by the way, on NVIDIA, in my opinion. But we've got an agreement to sell twice as many shares at 200. So I feel like I just did these right. I was like, this shit is so inflated. Let me go make sure that we're bringing in some easy money through the door on the call side, because I do feel like at some point the air is going to leave the balloon a little bit. And I thought that when I glanced at the charts, I didn't really study the chart too much on Palantir, but I was like, I could legit see a way that Palantir is going to go to 160 in the next 64 days. But that's very manageable, especially if I already made, 150, 160, 70 grand on the cost side. I was like, I could roll these out another 64 days and go from 160 to like 150, 140. And at some point, Palantir Army is going to step up and they're going to buy this dip. Because Palantir, one thing I know about this company, one thing I know about the people that follow this company, that are invested in this company, is they are freaking diehards, man. Like they are absolute diehards. I mean, this is a cultural phenomenon, right? When I say that it's a cult stock, that's what I mean. It's not like a cult like Dave Koresh, meet me out in Waco and I'm gonna you're gonna go meet Jesus today. It ain't that kind of cult. This is just something that people really, really, really believe in. Their conviction is second to none. And there's some of these people that they rode these shares up to 206, 207 bucks, and they'll gladly ride these shares back down to 106, and then in the hopes that they're going to be able to ride them back up. They're willing to go on that type of roller coaster with Palantir. It's pretty fucking impressive. I wasn't willing to do that. I felt like I found an easier way to make money with the stock. And that's why I'm playing such a wide strangle on it. Eventually, as I collect more premium or capture more premiums on this 260, I may roll it down to like 240, 230, bring in some more premiums to get the position a little bit more delta neutral, if you will. Same thing on NVIDIA. I could see me lowering these calls to 225. Not going to do it right now, though. There's still way too much time on the clock. This is my moonshot position here, 200,000 shares of ASST. I believe the average cost is 144. Go look on X. I posted it here earlier today. And then we got we purchased the right to buy 150,000 more shares at 250, 428 days from now. January the 15th of 2027. Those are not going well either. And then we sold calls against those shares. So kind of like a debit spread, if you will. So we bought the 250s and we sold the 10s, but only on 250 contracts. So we've got 1,250 shares or contracts, leaps that are free to run, plus the 200,000 shares that are not encumbered at all. So I feel really, really good about that position. Could it go to 80 cents? Could it go to 60 cents? Who the hell knows? Probably. I mean, theoretically, it could go to zero, right? That's the reality of it. But this is the bet that we placed. I've done some research on the company. I keep doing about 15 to 20 minutes a day, finding videos and stuff. They got earnings, I believe, tomorrow. So I'll be listening intently on that. And it'll help me formulate more of an investment thesis, if you will. But this was a Stanley Druckenmiller approach: invest and investigate. So already invested. Now we're investigating. Riot. All the investigations already been done on this company. I am 100% bullish on this particular company. And I started accumulating leaps again. I had exited the leaps for a $221,000 gain. Excuse me. And I started buying the leaps again when it fell from like 21 bucks or whatever it was. I got some at 18, 17, 16, bought 100 more here in the 14 range. And I'm trying to get up to 1,000 leaps on Riot. So at these levels, I want to accumulate another 400 to 600 leaps. I believe that at some point, Jason and company is going to announce a deal. And I'm here to get paid. I'm here to get paid. Their infrastructure is amazing. I've seen it with my own two eyes. I believe in management. I looked into a lot of souls when we went to go visit, right? I looked into people's eyes and I saw a lot of belief, a lot of conviction in what they had going on. They believed, guys. This was their lottery ticket. And unless you experience that in person, you're just never going to know. And that is why the Palantir army is so strong, because there's a lot of people that have been able to shake Alex Karp's hands. There's a lot of people that have been able to immerse themselves with the Palantir community, the Palantir employees, if you will. Palantir has those AIP cons or whatever they're called. So that creates like the framework for a team. It creates a camaraderie, if you will. And I saw that at a smaller scale because, Riot is a much smaller company. But I saw that gleam in their eye. I saw like the eye of the tiger in this company. Like there's a lot of people that believed that because they were fortunate enough to work at Riot, that one day they were going to be really fucking rich. And they loved what they did, man. It was crazy. Like it was like, I've been to Dutch Bros a couple of times. And all of those employees are like real happy to bring you the coffee and stuff, right? That's what it was at Riot. There wasn't a bunch of long faces there, guys. It was absolutely awesome. So anyway, on another note, I reached out to Jason Less, the CEO of Riot. He reached back. We're going to try to get him on the channel next week, live and in color, and we'll talk about all things Riot. So tune in for that. But that's what's going on with the portfolio in a nutshell, guys. What am I looking to do? What moves am I looking to make? Waiting on a deposit. But once the deposit goes through, I want to accumulate 20,000 more shares of BMNR. If I do it right now, the buying power is going to be a little bit uncomfortable. The buying power usage is approaching 60%. That's about max where I like to be, because I like to be closer to 50% in case if there's a huge spike in IV. You want to guard against those things, right? You don't want to be blowing up your account. So I'm waiting on that deposit to come through. And if it stays at these levels, I want to scoop up 20,000 more shares. I want to bring that average cost down to about 48 bucks. That way I'm still in the driver's seat and I'm able to sell covered calls effectively. So that's the game plan on that. On SoFi, we're just chilling, guys. We are just chilling. We're collecting theta. That's all we're doing on SoFi. I feel really, really solid about this. If it pumps back up to 32, I'm going to sell another 1,000 calls over here at 36. So that's what's going on there. On CleanSpark, I think I'm good there. I don't think I want to add any more to Clean Spark as far as the short puts. I'm just going to kind of let it play out. We either get assigned or we don't get assigned. The the strategy play, I feel really good about it, guys. I feel really, really good about it. I think that, well, depending on what Bitcoin does, but I think that MSTR is going to find some footing in the $200 range. So I think we're just one roll away from that. Kick this can down the road 45 to 60 days, stay in this trade for another 2 weeks or so. Kick the can down the road, lower it from 215 to 200, bring in some massive credits for that, stay at 350. So we'll be at like 200 and 350 and just keep manufacturing the win. We'll manage the short put, making money on the short calls. I love our chances to make $1 million on MicroStrategy. What has to happen to make $1 million on BM&R, guys? This thing has to pump to like at least 60, 65. That's what has to happen. If that doesn't happen, it's going to take a lot of covered calls, to get to that level. Why? Because we're sowing the hole. We're sowing the hole. I mean, just look at the math right there. We're down 1.3, but we're down year to date a 1,051,000. The reason that we're not down the 1.3 is because that's the cover call premium that I brought through the door. So anyway, that is all of it in a nutshell, guys. Let me check in with you guys. Let me do some live Q&A, and if we have a little time, just verify the time that I have my first FaceTime. Yeah, so I get till noon. So Osvaldo at noon, and then I got another one at 4:30. So we got time. Let's take our time. Let's talk about it. I know during times like these, there's a lot more of you guys that want to chime in because people freak out whenever the market goes down, right? Nobody really wants to talk to you when the market goes up because everybody's a Warren Buffett. Everybody's an expert when the market's going up. But when the market goes down, it really challenges your conviction a little bit. So it's real important for me to try to go live whenever the market's taking a shit, right? When it's shit in the bed a little bit, so I can try to be the voice of reason for you guys. So let me see where we're at here. What a rough day. We did that one already. We did. I think this is where we ended up. What's going on, Osvaldo? SoFi Bull, we did this one too. I just winged it. We did that one. Pat Boy, what's going on? Good morning, Pun. What's going on? I drink your milkshake. Sam L, looking sharp. TJ, diet and training clearly dialed in. Keep crushing it. Appreciate you guys, man. Appreciate you guys. I'm trying. I'm losing a little bit of weight. I got a tighter shirt, so you guys can see that it is legit coming down. The chest is coming in. I'm old, right? So I'm 50. So my arms aren't going to be all jacked and stuff the way I used to when I was younger, because as you get older, like you lose testosterone. So unless you're willing to do like a TRT and those kinds of things, you're fighting a losing battle. So right now I'm about like dexterity. I'm about like trying to keep like the little muscle that I still have on my body so that as I get older, I'll be able to move around, tie my shoes, golf, that kind of thing. Just enjoy a higher quality of life. And I feel like if you lose weight, that takes a lot of stress off the body, guys. Like all these little pains and stuff that I was dealing with. There's something in my face there, or maybe it's just white hair. I don't know. I guess it's just my lip. I don't know. Anyway, it's just you want to be able to move around. You just want to be able to move around. I ain't like trying to bench 315 pounds again, although that is a goal. I'm going to sign up for a powerlifting meet, and 315 is going to be the goal. But it's not that important to me, if that makes sense. Like I don't like to do things that like potentially might injure myself and stuff like that. As you get a little bit older, you're a little bit more averse to those types of things. What's going on, option investor? Sergio, good morning. Not at the desk. Shit is hitting the fan. Good morning. Not at the desk. Shit is hitting the fan. Morning. Nice to see you, Sandeep. Beast mode. Theo reposted the stream. Appreciate you, man. What's going on, Radon or Radon? TJ, the educational segment could be that if you talk about why you're not jumping up and down for, say, Amazon puts, they are in the money because there's a lot of extrinsic value there still. So I'm not worried about them getting put on me. And if they did, well, a third of those, a third of those shares would be on margin. So I would just sell very aggressive covered calls to try to get those shares called back away from me. So I guess it's just because I have a strategy that I know that I'm going to implement on the front end. What is there to freak out about? It's Amazon. I mean, do we think Amazon's going to go out of business? It's not AST. If I had the whole portfolio committed to go buy AST, even if it was at $1, that would still make you pucker up a little bit. But we're talking about fucking Amazon. Amazon, right? It's Amazon. Chill the fuck out. That's your teaching segment. It's Amazon. What do you want me to say? Do we really think Amazon's going to go out of business? I mean, even if it goes to 200, we don't think it's going to bounce back. It's Amazon. It's Amazon. It's amazing. It's amazing. Leverage ETF kills me. Yeah, man, those can be very, very dangerous. I've made a lot of money with TSLL, but it took me a couple of years to learn how to make money with TSLL because it's a dicey proposition, man. Be careful. Be careful. I know there's BMNU. Yeah, don't see me messing with BMNU. Riot has one too. You don't see me messing with it. I think Robin is the ROBN. I think that's the leveraged one for Robinhood. I think SoFi might even have one. You don't see me messing with a lot of those. The only one that I've had success with as far as leverage goes is TSLL. Great call on loading up on calls balances to seesaw contested puts. Theta Thursday, baby. Theta crush tomorrow. Exactly. Because the weekend's going to get priced in sometime tomorrow. So that's what they're referring to. What's going on, Angel? Happy and healthy Thursday, TJ. Appreciate you. I learned not to freak out anymore if it only caused bad decisions. Agreed. 100% agreed with that. TJ, now that we have time, can you talk about buying power at Tasty Trade and show us how to handle it? On a covered call, when the stock rides up and the call is higher than what you sold it, do you hold for time decay or just go ahead and roll out and up? Let me try to understand this a little bit more. On a covered call, when the stock rides up and the call is higher than what you sold it, are you saying the share price is higher than what you sold it? So the optimal time to roll, whether it's a put or a call, is whenever your strike is breached. That is the mathematical optimal time to roll. When I roll, when my break even is breached, typically. But it really depends. It's all situational, right? It's all situational. If you have an investment thesis and you stand by it, it's just like Amazon. Let me see if I go back to Amazon. Let me go back to Amazon real quickly and do a little teaching segment here. I got to go to this side. Y'all got to bear with me because if it comes time to potentially do any trades, I'm more comfortable on this side of the house. So Amazon, this is in the money. How do we know it's in the money? Because 245 is higher than 239, right? So this is an obligation to buy shares at 245. It's currently trading at 239. The issue is we got 36 days left on the clock. And it's telling you right there. You don't have to do any math. This isn't Robinhood. It tells you got $465,000 of extrinsic value there. What does that mean? What does that mean? That's the time value plus the implied volatility of the contract. So if the person on the other side wants to put those shares on you right now, they're going to relinquish all of that extrinsic value. So mathematically, it's not very, very likely. But let's just say you're uncomfortable and you're like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that because, I'm looking over here at the cash. There's 16 million. The notional on this thing's more than that, right? Because we can go over there and look at the notional. This might be an easier thing to show you guys. Hopefully, that's not the one I'm looking for. Let's go over here. Where is she at? This guy right here. Let's see if that shows up. I'm giving it time to see if it auto-populates and shows up. I'm sharing the screen, so theoretically it should. There we go. So we go to Amazon. It's trading at 239. We got an agreement to buy the shares at 245. So that the collateral is 18 million, right? You all saw the cash, so it was 16. So we're a little short. And then we got an agreement to sell the 1,000 shares at 27. So all the premium that we got on the right side of the trade is good on the call side. And then we're in the hole over here. So the one thing that you could do is you could de-risk a little bit. Let me go here. So let me see if I can get it together here. Let's see if that shows back up. I'm glancing at the TV over there to make sure that I'm giving you guys the stuff that I need. Yeah, so okay, we're good. I see it. So the one thing that you could do to take pressure off is you could roll the whole position down, right? Like you don't even have to go out. And the advantage of having more calls than puts right now is when I roll down those calls, that's going to give me more money. But then whenever you do this, whenever you manage too early or you manage too often, you potentially deal with what's called the whipsaw effect. So let's just walk through this trade. Let's just say I don't like this. It feels ugly. I want to be out of the money. So I want to roll everything down. I want to go from 245 to 240 because that's going to put me like right at the money, right? It's trading at 239 or whatever it is. And then I'm going to go from 270 to 260 because that's a debit. But I'm like, I don't want a debit. I want less of a debit. Then I go from 260 to 265 to 255, right? So right now we're at 270. So I roll the call down to 255. I roll the put from 245 to 240. I could do all of that. I could do all of that for a credit. They're probably going to want more buying power. Actually, surprisingly, they don't. So you can do that for a $58,000 credit and increase your buying power, and you feel real good. But there's gimmies and gotchas. Amazon goes back up to 245 tomorrow. And now this call sitting at 255. You're going to be getting, you took a trade that had an easy side and a hard side, and now you made both of them hard sides. Do y'all get that? Because right now, I only have to monitor the 245. If I roll this 270 down prematurely to 255, now that one could potentially be a pain in the ass as well. But there's some people, that's what they do. They would literally roll this to 245. Like they would do that. They would just roll this thing down to 245 and they'll turn it into a straddle. They'll do that right there. And that is a very successful way of doing it as well. They're like, okay, you're going to challenge me on the short put. Well, I'm like going to double dog dare you on the short calls. And if this is going to cause me pain, I'm going to go get all the pleasure on the other side. And then they're just going to let it play out. They're going to collect data. They're going to hope that Amazon stays right where it is. And they're going to collect data on both sides and they'll close the entire trade out, walk out a winner. I ain't going to do that right now. I'm going to bank on the math. I'm going to bank that the person on the other side is not a retard. And they're going to like, okay, I'm winning this trade, but I'm not really winning, because you got to consider all of the premium. There was a lot of premium collected on this trade, $6.41. So what's the break even? It's 239-ish, right? It's like 238 and some change. So unless it gets to like 238, which it could, obviously it's already down $5 today, then that's when I'll be like, oh shit, man, this thing's getting a little bit dicey. So what's another thing that I could do? The TJ way. I prefer to wait to 21 days before I roll out again. But the thing that I could do to reposition myself, guys, is just roll the shit out. Just roll the shit out. Roll the shit out to fucking right here. Like right here, 50 days out. And take pressure off that way. I can go from 245 to 240. And I don't want to go more than 265 down. I just don't, because I feel like on a Santa rally, this 265 could potentially get challenged. So I want to maintain my width. That's just what's important to me. And here it's not so much about credits, it's about what's comfortable for me. Because again, this is a marathon. Because eventually, in a perfect world, how do I see this trade? 3 or 4 cycles down the road. How do I see this trade? I see this trade like this. I see it at 300 and I see it at 230. When I can get to that point, and it's going to be, again, y'all are looking at stop sign to stop sign. I'm looking at a year down the road. That is where I envision this trade. And that's when I could be like, man, we got it. We finally built a highway that's comfortable for us. I feel like the drunk driver, being the share price, is going to stay between that highway. And that's when we're going to go get paid a la SoFi. At some point, I'm going to hit it right. And I'm going to be very, very comfortable on the upside, and I'm going to be very, very comfortable on the downside. I feel like 230 would be a place where I feel like Amazon is just going to develop a lot of support. And even if it pumps, I don't think it could get to 300. But we're not there yet, guys. I mean, this is early in the journey, right? It's early in the journey. So right now I'm thinking I don't have to do anything. I don't have to do anything. What's the perfect scenario for us? For Amazon to pump to 241, 242. And if I just want to take stress off, I could eat it a little bit. What do you mean? I could just size down and take a loss. I could close out 250 contracts and go give money back, right? Go give $302,000 back. And once you get your sizing in order, then it eliminates a lot of stress from the equation. That wouldn't be a horrible thing, because now I could be like, I could add another 250 easy money trade over here on the call side to help me finance scaling down the position on the side that's getting challenged. So there's just so many things that you could do, guys. This is not a one suit fits all, a one size fits all. This is an art form, and you have to do ultimately what makes sense for you. So I'm trying to see where we're at with this MSTR, because I was trying to get more calls filled, but I just wasn't able to. And let me see how far it is now. We're at 122. Yeah, I'm just going to cancel this trade because we wasn't able to get the price that I wanted. But I'm happy that I was able to add another 100 and let me just add, what is that, 53? Let me just add 53 at these prices, because I don't like 1747 doesn't look good. So let me add 53 contracts over here. I'll just take whatever price I can get just to make it feel better to me. So I just get it filled at the lowest possible price. There we go. I feel better about it. Okay, cool. So that's what's going on with Amazon. I could roll this down for a debit, or I could just give money back, size it down to where we're like, okay, fuck it. We could take ownership of these shares if we wanted to. I could also add more contracts over here, because it stands to reason, guys. You got to understand the math, right? It stands to reason that it can't be trading below 245 and over 270 at the same time. That is just mathematical. That's mathematically impossible. It's mathematically impossible. So I could sell more calls over here. Now, it's not an ideal time to be selling calls, like if you're talking about cover calls and all that stuff, because you're not getting the payout, right? Like if Amazon was trading at like 245, 250, and then I sold the 270s, I get more premiums for that. So again, I'm just going to be patient, guys. I'm just going to be patient. You know, I didn't overreact on SoFi when it dipped under 29 bucks, and here we are. We're over 29 again. And again, I'm just going to be patient. I feel like I'm in a winning trade. It's just uncomfortable. So anyway, I hope that helps you guys out. I'm trying to walk y'all through all the mindsets, all the shit that I think about, all the shit that I think about. So let me go find this over here. Let me see if I can address some more problems you might have. Appreciate you, man. 120 people rocking with me today. This was not a planned live. I thought the market was going to pump today. Boy, was I wrong. The 1,800 people on Twitter that have seen the thumbnail. Appreciate all of you guys. You got to do the whole 360. I don't know what that means. Managing buying power while managing the position live. Managing buying power. Would you sell the 220 call on NVIDIA for its earnings? What is my NVIDIA call at right now? What is my NVIDIA call at right now? This is for January, guys. This is at 250. I ain't doing anything there. I'm chilling. I'm collecting money over here. At some point, I get to 70, 80%. I just take it off the table completely and I'll rock with the short puts. I'll get answers to the test and we'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens. Same thing on like this Palantir when I'm going to try to add more contracts, but I'm not going to be in a hurry to like roll this thing down. I'm just like, I'll just get to like 70, 80%, log in that part of the win, and I'm still winning this trade from the standpoint that it's still above my strike price. It's just uncomfortable. So I'm losing it right now, but I know that if it stays at these levels, it's going to turn into a win. So you just got to be able to wait it out, man. You got to be, it's like, what's the rush? Like, I don't understand why people are in such a hurry. Like, let these things play out, especially whenever you're dealing with like a real solid company like Palantir, Amazon, Nvidia. I mean, you don't have the risk of these companies going out of business. Robinhood ain't going out of business, so you got to know what it is that you're investing in, right? At the end of the day. So let me see if I can get back over here to you guys. Trying to get a little better at this thing for you guys so I can go back and forth the way Amid does. It's freaking awesome. With leverage ETFs, can you just hold the bag and survive? It's real tough, man, because there's this NAV erosion is like a real thing, and then it's like if the underlying goes sideways, like let's just say it's Tesla versus TSLL. If Tesla goes sideways, TSLL goes down. It just steadily goes down. So I just, on those, like I always sell calls. Like I'm gonna mess with with like TSLL. I'm gonna have to have calls on it because the premiums are real juicy. And yes, the upside's real violent, but so is the downside. So you just gotta be careful, man. Got to be careful. Where's the Apple and Google trades? I closed them out for tax harvest losses. I won't bring them back on the books for another 21 days, I believe. And then I'll put the exact same trades back on, just a little bit wider. So that's where those guys are at. We are in a raging bull market and you're down year to date. Matt saying that I don't have a positive year to date. I guess he hasn't been following the whole year. Great teaching about whipsaw for Amazon. Thank you. Thank you. Much appreciated. I think I remember Matt now. I think this guy was always like trying to bust my balls on like the Tesla trade and stuff, but I think he went radio silent and he never commented on like all the money that I recently made on the SoFi trade and stuff like that. It's real interesting. But that's what trolls do, right? Like they show up whenever you're having a rough day in the market or whatever, but he won't be here tomorrow if the market pumps. It's what he does. I've invited him on the channel a couple of times, but the pussy don't show up. Where else? Tom Lee is a scammer. I don't know Tom Lee personally. I don't understand how people could say those things. I don't like what makes him a scammer. Like what would make him a scammer? What would make Michael Saylor a scammer? Like I see, you'd have to like define that because I feel like somebody scamming is like they're trying to do something intentionally, if you will. I feel like Michael Saylor has like this vehicle out there that has a lot of volatility. You have to decide what you want to do with it, right? Like you have to decide what you want to do with it. I don't know. Good morning, TJ. Shed is hitting the fan. Careful here. It's crazy to see negative 1 million on your account. Thoughts on Hood? I think Hood's awesome. I also think Hood is it rocks with crypto, right? So I think that if crypto doesn't do so hot, then I don't think Hood's going to be doing so hot. Just my opinion. I don't know. I don't know if there's a like an actual correlation there. It's just what it feels like. I think Amit follows the company a lot closer than I do, so he would probably have already pieced that together. But I feel like if Bitcoin does well, crypto in general, I think that Hood stock price tends to do better. But if crypto goes down, then Hood goes down. It's almost like Coinbase to a certain extent. What are your thoughts on Meta? Man, I don't have like a real solid thesis on Meta. I'm just playing the range game on Meta right now. Um, Whenever Meta has gone down previously, I'm trying to think of, I don't know when it was, man, the year. I'm not sure if it was 22, 21, 22. It went to like $94. It scooped up like 2,500 or 3,000 shares. Some in the 90s, but it was more like in that 105 range, something like that. And I just remember it had gotten like hammered. I think it was when they were gonna like spend $10 billion on the metaverse or something like that, and the market, like the sentiment got really bad with Meta. And I don't remember the year. I want to feel like it was 2022, but I'm not exactly sure. And I was like, dude, this seems overblown. This seems overblown. And I want to say it might have been like it was either Chris Patel or it was Jeremy, financial education dude. Somebody was saying like, hey, this could be like a real legit opportunity if you believe in Mark Zuckerberg. Meta's not going anywhere. I think Amit was saying something like a big part of the entire population was on Facebook, Meta every single day. So it pumped right after it found its footing. It pumped, and then there was another time that it had gone well over 500, and then it went all the way back down to like 400, and it was like a real violent move to the downside, and then it pumped. And I think that we're in another situation. I'm not exactly sure why the market doesn't like them right now. I think I've seen or read or heard that there's something about capital expenditure. Like they're not real happy with their capex or something like that, but I'm not sure. So I'm not real sure. But I think that the move is getting a little bit overblown as well. I think our strike is at 550, I believe. I believe our strike's at 550. Yeah, I'm looking at it on the background, guys. Yeah, so at 550. Am I wanting to take ownership of Meta at 550? No. Maybe 500. That would probably be really appealing. But then at that point, I'd have to go do homework. I'd have to go listen to 2 earnings calls because I don't listen to the earnings calls on most of the Mag 7 except for Tesla. So I'd have to like get up to speed and really form an investment thesis if we're talking about taking ownership of the shares. I'm just playing price wars, right? I got 550 and 750. That's just price wars. I'm playing a range game with Meta, and I think that it's going to work out. There's Matt talking shit again. Where else do we got? Ignore the haters. Matt's cool, but he never comes. He never comes on the channel. It's always the experts that are on the sidelines. They're like lurking, but he's a fucking fan. He follows every move. He probably knows my portfolio better than I do. It reminds me of those Dallas Cowboy fans. Like they say they're not fans, but they know the injury report. They know Dak stats. They know all the moves that Jerry Jones is making. I'm a Dallas fan, so I like make fun of the haters. And granted, we haven't won the Super Bowl since 1996, but I'm saying is I don't even follow the Cowboys that closely, but the haters do, is what I'm saying. And I think that nobody follows me closer than Matt, so he's a fucking fan. I just send him a cap and a shirt or something, maybe an autographed book when it comes out. If your Palantir was, where are we at here? I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on. Bear with me. If your Palantir with 160 strike was expiring December the 12th, would you still wait it out or roll to January for a credit? it's out of the money. It's out of the money. I don't have to do anything. It's out of the money. It's what I saw earlier. It was like 174, right? Let me see what it is now. Uh, let me pull up Palantir in a second. So the short put is at 160. Yeah, it's at 175. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to do anything. It doesn't even feel uncomfortable yet. Palantir would have to go to like 165 before that side of the trade would actually feel uncomfortable. So I'm just collecting data. All the onus is on the person that bought the puts. I sold them. So I'm like, Palantir has to go under 160. Can it happen? Absolutely. Palantir is valued at nosebleed valuations, right? We all know that. I just don't think it's going to happen. I just think Palantir Army is going to step up. It's going to step up. But if it doesn't, well, then I'll roll out. I'll go from 160, 150, 140. Where's the level where I would actually be very, very curious / nervous / excited to take ownership of Palantir shares? $100. $100. That's where I'm like, okay, this could be a legit double, right? Palantir goes euphoric again, goes from 100 to 200, and then the premiums are pretty damn good on Palantir as well. So again, this is a marathon, right? Like I want to be in these trades for the next 3 to 5 years. Hopefully Palantir just stays between 160 and 260 for the next 60 days, and we're done. I could reassess it and then put a strangle on again, and maybe it looks like 140 versus 240. I don't know, but I don't make those decisions until it's actually time to make those decisions, if that makes sense. I bought gifted investors saying I bought 13,000 worth of Meta. It's been a headache for a week now. Yeah, I don't know how bad Meta is for the week, but because I wasn't really following the trade. that is fucking hilarious, Manish. How bad is Meta for the week? Let me look over here. 5 days. Well, according to this thing, it's down. Is that right? Could that be right? According to Yahoo Finance, it's only down a little over 1% in 5 days. Now in the month, it's down 14%, $105. So I don't know if that's the information that Yahoo Finance has given me. So I haven't followed it that close. Whenever I put that trade, I was like, I feel like I won't even have to look at this thing. Onyx C. I see your trade BM&R. Have you looked into ETHU? And I don't do anything with futures. Yeah, I don't do anything with futures yet. I'm 5 years full time at this game. I feel like futures maybe happens if I even ever dabble with it. I'm probably still like 2 years, 2 to 3 years away in that journey for me. Because I just like try to like really get good at what I do, right? Sell put, sell calls, collect premium, roll what makes dollars and cents, and manufacture the win. And I always like grade myself in 3 to 5 year increments. So I feel like I got the selling put, selling calls down, rolling. That's all good. Now I've been messing with strangles for about 1.5 years total, about 6 to 7 months online, offline about a year before that. So I feel like I got another year or two to really understand all the nuances, all the gimmies and the gotchas. So I'm not like real quick to want to like put new tools in my tool belt right away, because I feel like power tools can hurt you, if that makes sense. You got to learn how to use them. And that's kind of the way that I look at like my knowledge base is like, let me just get real good at what I do. Because at the end of the day, I'm running my own race, right? Like not to harken back at the troll Matt. But Matt's running his race. I'm running mine. I don't know what the fuck Matt does. I don't care. I'm that guy. Like I'm not that in tune with what other people are doing or not doing in the market. I'm only concerned with what I'm doing in the market and what I'm trying to get accomplished. So right now, I want to get really good at selling strangles, really become an expert in managing the risk, understanding how the buying power is affected, the capital requirements are affected, affected the closer you get to expiration, things like that. Just really understand everything and anything that I can about strangles. I watch 1 to 2 videos on strangles daily. Thankfully, Tasty Trade has like a lot of archives on strangles. So it's like the vanilla, according to Dr. Jim, it's like the most vanilla strategy out there, right? You sell the put, sell the call, you play the range. And then if there's a violent move in either direction, you got to go manage. If there's no violent move, it's like the optimum data decay strategy, right? Data collection strategy. Where else are we at? TJ the Will Deal. During your day trading days, did you follow candlestick trading? What's your opinion on following? I didn't. I was just doing basic stuff like the Bollinger Band, the 50 day, the 200 day. Those have always been my go-to moves as far as that goes. And I was only trying to get like 10 to 15%, right? Like, so, and it was just like, it was the same stock over and over, like Boeing, man, I probably did, this is in 2020 when I first went full time in the market. I did like 1,000 trades on Boeing in 2020, something like that. Like it's just a stock that I got a real good feel for. There was a lot of news coming out with the company, and I just got comfortable with it. And I was making like an average of like 100, $200 a day. Just I don't even necessarily call it swing day trading. It was more like swing trading with Boeing. It was my favorite stock for a while, and I don't know. I was still doing the thing with the mitt. So maybe about a year ago, I really tried to build a position on Boeing again because I believe in the company long term. They were going through a management change because I remember the management had they had questioned him in Congress or something like that. It was one of those things. So I was like, I feel like this company's like finally going to get it together, but then I sold some puts, made a little bit of money, nothing crazy, but I just never took ownership of shares again. I guess I just didn't believe in it enough, or I just thought that maybe it was just too hard to make money with it. I'm not sure. Turbo, haven't tuned in for a minute. Looking good, TJ. Appreciate you. What's your favorite indicators on your chat? Good stuff. Thanks for. You're welcome. You're welcome. Any updates on the books? Looking forward to it. Yes, I'm putting out 3 chapters for the members here in the next 24 to 48 hours, and they're gonna help me make it better. And then we're gonna do another 3 chapters, and hopefully within a month it's all done. Send it to print, be done. That's what's going on with the book. Where else are we got? I bought METU. I'm assuming that's a leverage play on Meta. I've never heard of that ticker. Thoughts on ASST? So I've got 200,000 shares on MSST. I feel pretty good about it. From what I see, I like. Now, there's stuff that I still don't understand. There was an acquisition of another company. I feel like they overpaid for that company. Wall Street didn't like that. So the stock got shot down substantially. And then there's the other thing that I'm still trying to wrap my mind around, and that's like a lot of warrants. There's like a lot of warrants with this company that are no bueno, that are absolutely no bueno. And I think that is going to cause a lot of pressure on this stock. I don't know. It could be for the next year or so. I'm not real sure. Again, it's very, very early in the process. But I do feel like they have something that's pretty unique about them. So it was just a flyer. It literally is a moonshot play for me. I think that technically speaking, if it gets above that $2 level, it could potentially pump to 8. And then at that point, I'd probably consider liquidating, if not half, all of the shares, and then just rocking with the leaps and then just kind of seeing what happens. Because at that point, I'm playing with house money. So right now, it's still just a trade, probably 20 hours away, maybe 30 hours away from letting you guys know whether or not it's an investment, like it's right, like right, it's an investment, right? Like it's something that I know I want to be in for the next 3 to 5 years minimum. Same thing with SoFi, same thing with the Palantirs, the Hoods, etc. Those are investments. ASST is nothing more than a trade right now. I'm hopeful that it could turn into an investment, but I just don't know enough yet, man. It's way, way too early. Like it's way, way too early for me. There's a lot more people that are a lot more knowledgeable on that particular company and that space in general. So I would say that they would probably be better to lean on for that, in my opinion. Is crypto cooked this year? I don't think so, but we'll find out here pretty soon, right? No, I don't have anybody specifically that I would be comfortable sharing, but you can reach out to anyone over there, man. Anytime that we've ever talked to them, they're like extremely friendly, extremely knowledgeable, and extremely helpful. You can handle futures. It makes you a better trader. Being plugged into futures just as soft now. Yeah, I was at in Los Angeles. The at work by 11 or whatever they called the little function, and he asked like, "Hey, who trades futures?" And it was like maybe 10% of the room, and he was like, "What the f is wrong with y'all?" like like futures is where it's at. Like he was a real big fan, and I think the very first trade that he did during the little seminar was a futures trade, and I was just like daydreaming because I didn't even know what ticker to look at. So yeah, I'm just not familiar, but I think eventually that is definitely something that I will probably explore. I just feel like I got a lot of getting better to do with my strangles, right? So I just went from covered strangles to naked strangles because covered strangles that's the easiest trade to manage, right? In my mind, if you can handle the downside of owning all the shares. So right now I want to get good at naked strangles, and then after that, I want to maybe explore the futures because I've done spreads and it's just not my thing. It's just not my thing. Like I feel like I gave it enough time, credit spreads, debit spreads. I've given it enough time to know that that's not really my jam, if you will. What was your life-changing trade? Man. So I think there's two of them. One was making a bet on myself that I could figure out this game when I left my full-time gig in the oil field. And I burned those bridges. I told HR, I was like, "Hey, put me on your list, people that like we're like on the blacklist. Like, I don't want to be able to get rehired. So I want to like burn this bridge. The oil field's been good to me, but I feel like it cost me dearly. I wasn't there to pay enough attention to my daughter when she needed me the most, and she took her life. So I blamed myself and like my love for the oil field. I loved my job in the oil field. I was trying to get really, really good at it. And then sometimes you'll hear me say things like, I hate the oil field, but I hate what I feel like the oil field cost me, if that makes sense. But the experience itself was amazing, really helped me to cultivate my work ethic and all that stuff. But whenever I made the change, to trade the brawn, using your brawn, your body, and now using my brain. That was probably the best trade that I ever made. And it was hard because I went from this certainty of having, 100, $120,000 a year, 80,000 on a bad year if I couldn't get enough overtime, to now not having that steady source of income. So I had to go grind, right? I was playing poker full time, had a little wine tour business that would produce some decent cash flow. And then I was driving Uber and Lyft. And then I got real creative trying to sell wine tours to people from my Uber and Lyft because I was like, they already see value in and somebody driving them around drunk. So they already value their safety. So I was like, hey, have you ever been on a wine tour to Fredericksburg? So I'd wear the cap, the hat, the jacket. It said 777 wine tours, and just kind of like try to steer the conversation that way because I had a captive audience. They were in the car. They weren't going anywhere for 5, 10, 20, 30 minutes. however long the ride was. So that just became my hustle. So I feel like that became my best trade. Now in the stock market, without a doubt, my life altering trade has been SoFi, without a doubt. And I've learned how to trade it different ways. Just own the shares, 250 now, 4,000 shares in the 401k, 114 shares in the SoFi app that have all been bought with rebates from the credit card. And then the strangles that you guys see up there. So that's been the life-changing trade. Like I feel like I've learned how to make about $1 million on average every quarter with SoFi without even trying. So I think there's the big difference that I've learned. Like SoFi's taught me that there's more than one way to make money on the stock at the same time. So I have the shares, I run the cover call campaign, and then I'm running the naked strangle campaign now. And it just produces positive cash flow to the tune of about $1 million a quarter. And I don't see it slowing down anytime soon. So there's people that are like all capped out, right? They ride Palantir from 7 to 200 and they've never done anything with it. And it's awesome. It looks good on paper. But at some point, the music's going to stop and the stocks can't give you anymore. It can't give you anymore. And then you're like, well, I don't want to sell the shares because I have all these tax implications and all that stuff. So I feel like you have to learn how to continue to make money with that stock. Because if not, you could be in a situation where you have a bunch of shares of Palantir, but you're not willing to sell covered calls. You're not generating any income. You're not getting any more capital appreciation because the stock has hit a fucking brick wall. And it's probably done so, in my opinion, for the next 6 to 12 months. So what are you going to do? And again, this is what I do full time. So I have to produce cash flow, right? I don't have another source of income. So I just think that we're all running our own race and you have to figure out what's best for you. But the two best trades are going from the oil field to the stock market full time, burning my bridge with the oil field. And then SoFi has by far and away been my game changing trade for sure. And it's still going. Bloody Red Day. We did this one here. Dave, a TJ, a longtime lurker, never managed. Any thoughts on Galaxy? Interesting company right now between crypto and AI themes. Truth be told, I'm not familiar with it. It's definitely. I go back and I watch. I'll read all the comments after, so I'll look at it again and I'll make sure to put Galaxy on something that I want to check out. Brian says, I'm a futures trader getting into options now after all these years. It's a totally different mindset. TJ, what's trading during the holidays like for Thanksgiving and Christmas? Is there a high-low volume because people are off work? A little bit. I've never really noticed it too much. And I think it's because this is the first year that I've dealt with this amount of contracts. So I think that this year I may notice it a little bit more, but previous years, because on Robinhood it was limited to 200 contracts at a time on a trade, right? So it was very, very seldom did I have more than 200 contracts on an underline unless it was a real cheap stock like SoFi or Riot or something like that. So I'll find out. If there's a material difference. I don't really think there will be for the level that I'm playing because we're not like market movers or market makers or anything. I'm not trying to fill, 40, 50,000 contracts at a time. And a lot of these stocks that I deal with, they're like extremely liquid, right? Like the Mag 7. So, it is what it is. TJ, just FYI, you can't swing futures. It's an in and out per day trade. Right on. Yeah, I don't know. I literally don't know anything about it. So again, it would probably take me a year of studying it online and then before I would even get comfortable to introduce it to the channel. So don't expect futures on the channel anytime soon, guys. I'm back. Had to help someone apply for food stamps and Medicare, Medicaid. How'd you figure you had the knack for this, working random jobs before? I was always enamored with the stock market. I used to watch a show called Optionetics. I'm gonna see if I can find it. I'm gonna see if I can find it here on YouTube. Bear with me. It was an infomercial. Optionetics. Here we go. So this is what started my curiosity into the stock market. Guys, you guys are getting an exclusive here right now. This is the stuff that I'm actually sharing in the book. So if I could find it right here, I'm just waiting to see if it pops up. So this is what got TJ the Wheel Deal excited about options. I was about 12 years old, roughly. So Optionetics refers to a former company that provided options trading, education, and software, founded by George Fontanills, however you say that. The company was acquired by Options Express Holdings Inc. in 2009 and is no longer an independent entity. The name is now most commonly associated with educational materials, books, and courses related to options trading, including seminars and home study programs. Optionetics was the company that created courses, seminars, and analysis software for options traders, acquisition. So there was an infomercial on TV way back in the day, and it would come out late at night, and they were selling like books and tapes and that kind of thing. And I told my dad, like, I could do that. I want to do that. I want to do that for a living. I'm like 12 years old. And this infomercial would come on late at night. It was around the time that this dude was on TV named Carlton Sheets doing something, talking about real estate. So I would watch this Optionetics, and then I would watch this Carlton Sheets infomercial. And I felt like between the stock market and real estate, I was destined to become a multimillionaire. I just didn't know what avenue was going to work for me. And I was probably no younger than 10, no older than 12 when I was watching this stuff. And I would harp on my dad all the time. Dad, give me those books, give me those tapes. This is what I'm going to do for a living. Like, I'm going to be rich. And my dad's like, you could do anything you put your mind to. You're real good at basic math, etc. You know, the stock market, there's like so much math involved. This might be right up your alley. So he encouraged me. He encouraged me at a very, very young age. And then, you know, life happens, a dream dies. And then I end up in a Primerica financial services meeting when I'm in college. And they start talking about the rule of 72 and how it takes, you know, 6 years on average to double your money in the stock market. So you just put a couple $100 a month into a mutual fund or something like that. And 30, 40 years later, you're a millionaire. So I wrap my mind around that concept. And then I'll never forget when we were trying to get licensed to become a Primerica financial service reps in the year 2000, 2001. And my business partner at the time with a company called Easy Digital was a guy named Joseph DeSanjo. My buddy Greg was already in the company. My late brother, Greg Ortiz, he was in the company. And Joseph said, you know, there's a lot of money in money. And it just stuck. It stuck with me. There's a lot of money in money. So these are all the seeds that were planted. And then in somewhere around 1997, 1998, I got a Pell Grant. Got a Pell Grant from the University of Texas. And I bought stock with that money because I already knew that I was going to even have a hard time finishing school. So I was like, well, let me like put this money to work. So I went into an office. It was a Merrill Lynch office in San Antonio, Texas. And I bought like $2,000 worth of a company called Intuit, INTU. And I held that stock for well over 10 years, and I made a pretty nice profit off of it. Still trades today, INTU. They own QuickBooks and that kind of thing. So I just knew that I could make money in the stock market. I just felt like that's what that's what I could do. And then I had already started swing trading when I was in the oil field. I had made a little bit of money with the marijuana stocks in like 2016, 2017, something like that. And then I had done some swing trading on Bitcoin 2014, 2015. So I just felt like I had a knack for it, if that makes sense. I just felt like I could do well with it. I do not know who Chris Watts is. By the way, what's going on with SoFi today? I'm not sure. I'm assuming like everything else, it's down. I don't know. Uh, yeah, it's at $29. It was at all-time highs yesterday. I mean, it could be something as easy as simple as profit taking and just being down with the overall market. I assume the overall market's down. I haven't even looked here. Let me look on Yahoo Finance. Yeah, the overall market's down. The S&P 500 is down 69 points. The Dow is down 374 points. The Nasdaq's down 386 points. So I don't know. Again, I'm not following the story closely, right? I didn't watch Amit this morning. I haven't watched CNBC. I'm assuming probably waiting on some critical data because we've been flying blind. We've been flying. The plane's been flying. No contact with ground control, ground support, whatever it's called. And now they're probably waiting on critical data from previous months, right? Because the market was shut down. The government was shut down for basically all of October. So I'm guessing that's probably the uncertainty is what's pushing the market down. If I had to guess, again, I'm flying blind too because I haven't done any. I don't know. I decided to come live. I could have just caught up to speed and then I would have those answers for you guys. But I was like, fuck it. The market's bleeding out. I feel like a lot of you guys are freaked out right now. Let me just talk with you guys. So I'm not sure. So let me see if I could keep finding this. What do you think about GAMB as a long-term bag hold? Not familiar with it. I'm buying up a LAC, Lithium Americas, right on. You can go swing trade. What the hell are you talking about? Again, I don't know anything about futures, guys. I remember Carlton Sheets. Yeah, dude, I would watch that shit. And there was another guy, Don Lepre, plays thousands of little ads in tiny newspapers, and you could get rich. So I'm 19 years old. I stumble onto a business seminar with a company called Equinox International. Bill Gould was the founder. He attended the University of Texas. I was at the University of Texas. I felt like it was fate. Oh my God, this is a big company. Number one, Inc. 500, fastest growing company in America, all that stuff. And then Mary Miner was my sponsor. If y'all know anything about those multi-level pyramid scheme companies, network marketing, cooperative marketing, whatever you want to call it, where you draw circles and then they draw circles and they bring friends and you get two people, they get two people. In an hour, the entire world's under you, right? As far as your little pyramid scheme. You're on top of the pyramid. It's awesome. So Mary Miner was my sponsor and she went to high school with that guy, Don Lepre. Don Lepre was the guy that you would have these late night infomercials along with Optionetics, Carlton Sheets, and it was Don Lepre. Those were like the three in the, I'm talking about the 80s, guys, the 80s. Placed thousands of little ads in tiny little newspapers, and I don't even know what the hell the ads were about. But this dude would sell you like books and tapes again. And I was always real curious about that as well. So again, just going back to like my mindset and stuff, you know, I was a small town boy with big city dreams, right? And I wanted to make a lot of money. I was raised by a family that didn't have a lot of money, but they worked for a family that was extremely wealthy. So I was exposed to their mindset at a very, very young age. So it made an impression in me. And I was like, well, they did it. I could do it too. My parents weren't fortunate enough because they didn't know a family like this when they were my age. But I know this family and they're willing to share whatever wisdom they have with me. And they helped to shape my mindset at a very, very early age. And I'm forever, forever thankful to Don and Franny Stewart. because they really helped shape my mindset at a very, very young age. And I think that's what you see in front of you today. It's the mindset of that 12-year-old that just kept evolving and evolving and evolving. Oh my God, I remember those infomercials, Mega Memory and Mega Reading. Yes, there was another dude. I think he ended up getting in trouble, Trudeau or something like that. He was like in all the infomercials, man. It was crazy. This guy is clown sweet, saying making money off real estate and free money book. Good to see you live again. How's the book coming? Working on it every day, man. About half an hour a day. There's a company called Peaceful Profits that I have an appointment with later today, and they're saying that they could take me to the finish line for like $8,000. So I'm going to listen to their sales pitch today. I may just hand the baton off from here because it is just an absolute pain in my ass. I wish I had never said that I was going to do it. Why is the market selling off after the great news? Maybe it is just that, buy the rumor, sell the news. TJ, don't grow too fast. It's nice when you can respond to all of us. I don't think I'm ever going to get that popular on YouTube, guys. I've been at it for over 4 years now. So I barely got to 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. I got only like 37,000 followers on X. And I think lifetime I only have like 800,000 views on YouTube. So yeah, we're probably not going to blow up anytime soon. Any recommendation for wheel tracking tools? We have the wheel tracker, and then a gentleman named Rob O'Toole has a really, really awesome tool that he's created as well. And then Tevis is working on one also. Tevis Fundamentals of Investing. So there's definitely some tools out there. It's the repricing of no rate cut for December. It's 50%. There you go. Yeah. So no rate cuts are coming likely. He says it's all data dependent, right? I think that if there is no rate cut, though, I think that the president will announce that he's going to replace the Fed here pretty soon. Just my thoughts. TJ, any interest in going down the rabbit hole on VG, Venture Global? According to Manny and Chris, most important liquefied natural gas producer, trading at $8 after a huge dip recently. Done some homework on Next because I live about an hour away from that company. So if there's a rabbit hole that I would go down, I think that it would be Next over VG, at least for now. BTC dumping still at 100,000. Hi, TJ. Do you check market index levels prior to opening new naked strangles? If all-time high, do you lean more towards a negative delta rather than neutral? I'm new and thankful for. Yes, I definitely glance at the futures every morning as far as like the implied opening for the Dow, the Nasdaq, and whatnot. But mostly, I'm at a point now to where I sell puts and calls on the same stocks over and over again. So it's kind of like if you own shares for years, you're going to deal with a lot of ups and downs in the market. You're going to deal with a lot of earnings, all that stuff, right? A lot of rate cuts or no rate cuts, etc. So I'm just like, I don't have that Sunny and 75 syndrome, meaning everything has to be perfect for me to sell a put. Everything has to be perfect for me to sell a call. I'm going to sell puts, I'm going to sell calls, and I'm just going to play the laws of averages. Sometimes I'm going to make more money, and other times I'm not going to make as much money. Sometimes it's going to look, oh shit, his year to date went negative on Tasty Trade, even though they don't understand like the accounting of when we brought over a bunch of positions over from Robinhood and stuff. But sometimes it looks better than others, but I'm going to be very consistent. It's what I do. I sell puts, I sell calls for a living. I roll when it makes dollars and cents, and I don't suffer from Sunny and 75 syndrome. Like my hamburger stands open 251 trading days per year. It used to be 252, right? But now Juneteenth is a holiday, so now it's only 251 days. Joe Biden did that for us, gave us an extra day off. So my hamburger stands open 251 days a year. And I'm going to sell puts. I'm going to sell calls. I'm going to collect premium, roll when it makes dollars and cents. And I have the same 10 to 15 underlines that I do it on. So sometimes I get better premiums. Other times I don't get such great premiums. But at the end of the day, I feel like it just always averages out for me. I'm 25. What's the best advice you can give me so I can be in your position in the future? I would say that comparison is the thief of joy. Run your own race. You know, if you're a Christian, ask to be aligned with God's will, whatever God's will is for your future. Embrace that. Embrace that. I've just, I've always wanted to live my best life. I've always wanted to be the best that I could be. And I haven't really suffered from that comparison thing too much, like comparison syndrome. I truly believe that comparison is the thief of joy. So just run your own race, man. Run your own race. We all got one life to live. Make the best of it. I'm going to come on here. I'm going to show my plays, whether good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. And you can look to see what makes sense for you, what doesn't make sense for you, and rock with it. And rock with it. You know, it is what it is. I'm not everybody's flavor. You know, we can go back to this guy, Matt. He doesn't seem to like me. He's always shitting on me, but that's hate that he has in his heart that he has to deal with. He doesn't occupy any space in my mind. You follow me? Like, I don't know him from Adam, so I'm not gonna like expend a bunch of energy trying to like discredit him or whatever the case may be, because God lives in my heart. So I don't go there. That's like, who the fuck does that? That's crazy to me. But you know, it takes all kinds to make the world go around, if that makes sense. So run your own race, man. I would say that that's life advice that I would give to anyone: is run your own race, embrace this beautiful life that God's giving you. That's his gift to you. God's gift to you is your life. What you do with that life is your gift to God. That's y'all's quote of the day. What happened with you and Amit? Nothing. I mean, we did the deal on his channel, and then I was no longer trading on Robinhood, and he didn't want me promoting, or he didn't want to promote short naked strangles on his channel. He thought that it would be bad for his viewers because there was a lot of newbies or whatever. Don't downplay the momentum on YouTube. You're doing great, man, and consistency always pays off. We'll see how it goes, man. We'll see how it goes. I'm just going to sell puts and calls, and I'm going to be transparent. Some days are better than others, and it is what it is. Appreciate you. I was looking at BG right on. I mean, Christian, I was embrace that. Thank you so much. You're welcome, man. You're welcome. God bless you. I hope that you have amazing future in store. I feel like everybody has an amazing future in store if you just align yourself with God's will. Because I think God wants everybody to win. You just have to like embrace that. You have to embrace victory. You have to be the victor, not the victim. And I think that a lot of people go through this life being professional victims. And those people have a real hard time winning at life. That is what I feel. I want to be a victor, and I want other people to feel like they are victors as well. So hopefully that helps you guys out. TJ, most transparent. Yeah, man, I don't have anything to hide because I don't have a motive. I ain't trying to sell you. Yeah, I ain't trying to sell you a bunch of courses or anything. I do have my book that will be for sale for probably like $29 or whatever, but you don't have to buy it. And I'm going to give it to a lot of you guys anyways. And then I'm sure you guys will be able to use artificial intelligence and copy and paste it and send it to people. So I feel like the book thing is a losing proposition for the author, because there's, you know, maybe you sell 100 of them and then people just make copies and send them off, and there's not a damn thing that I'm going to be able to do about it. So I'm definitely not going to get, luckily I'm not trying to get rich selling the book. You know, I've already accomplished the getting rich part. Matt is just not a multi-million. I don't know, man. Maybe he is. Who knows, man? Who knows? He may be the most amazing trader on here. He might be the CEO of one of these big companies for all we know. Anybody can be anybody they want to be on YouTube or X when you don't have to provide any receipts, right? So it is what it is. Appreciate you, man. I got to get rocking and rolling, guys. I got a FaceTime at 12 and I still don't have anything in my body. So I'm gonna see if anything looks appealing. I just don't have an appetite these days. I just drink water in the mornings, and I'm always trying to see if I could get into like a fast mode and whatever that word is, a pachini, a autophagy, whatever that word is, that the word that starts with an A, that like your body starts like restoring cells and all that stuff. Absolutely, absolutely. If you're picking really, really solid companies and you're selling puts pretty out of the money, selling calls pretty out of the money, and you're running the covered strangle, meaning you already own the shares, so you don't have an unlimited risk to the upside, you don't have to babysit your portfolio. Like if you're picking levels that you're absolutely comfortable with, it literally can be a set it and forget it strategy. I'm obviously playing more aggressive. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Looks like it's time to stock off on some low autophagy. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, so I've achieved that level. I feel a couple of times because I've done fast over 36 hours now, and I've done a fast over 72 hours. So I'm like, I'm not hungry today. Maybe today's the day that I try to go get my ass back into some autophagy because it's just a real healthy state to get to. And I'm trying to like burn some visceral fat, like all that fat around your organs and stuff that's really, really dangerous. So maybe today's that day. Maybe today's that day. We'll see. We'll see what happens. If I'm not hungry, I'm just not eating. And if I can function, and I feel like I can function right now, I don't feel like all oozy or anything, and I just kind of rock with it. But anyway, guys, I got to get rocking and rolling, man. And this has been a long stream. I appreciate the 127 people rocking with me, the 2747 that saw on Twitter. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I hope y'all can appreciate the level of transparency. I don't hide. I don't run. I don't hide. I'm just me. I'm just me. I'm just a dude that learned how to sell puts and calls on the same stocks over and over again. And I know how to roll when it makes dollars and cents. And I say it all the time, I have the guts of a burglar. Like I know how to deal with the pressure. And I usually come out on the other side pretty well, pretty well. I wish you guys the best on your journey. I'm going to get rocking and rolling. I don't think that I'll go live tomorrow. I want to enjoy a long weekend with my family. Don and Franny Stewart, the folks that I grew up with, that my parents worked for, their daughter's in town. She's like a kid sister to me. She's staying at my dad's place. I want to spend some time with them as well. Anyway, I got to run. TJ the Wheel Deal signing off. As always, Mary Sky, stay blue, stock screen. Peace out. God bless you guys.